Welcome back to another video in our Shiftworks How-To series. Today we will be walking through the installation process of one of our C3 Corvette shifter packages on the 700R4 equipped 1982 model. Now to kick things off, we'll start by removing both seats, both console side covers, and the console cover plate. Let's get started. Now that we have access to the shifter, we can easily remove it from the car by disconnecting the shift cable, the neutral safety backup light switch, and the 4 retaining bolts. We are now going to remove the original shift cable and replace it with the upgraded Shiftworks style. The benefit to the Shiftworks one, which you will see later when we're doing our final adjustment, is just that. It gives you a little bit more fine tuning when it comes to making your final adjustment, and who doesn't want fine tuning? Yeet! It is also worth mentioning that we do provide you with some new screws to fasten the grommet to the floor. However, we are going to reuse our originals because they're in good shape. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So now we're going to install the shifter in the car. And what we want to do is start with this bulkhead in the center of the threads. That gives us even amount to adjust in either direction once we get to adjusting everything. And then we're going to bolt it down to the floor, which you will reuse your original bolts. Now that we have that taken care of, we can put the cable eyelet onto the handle stud and insert our cotter pin and washer. Go. And now we're going to plug in our neutral safety and backup light switch. And for this, we just added some male and female electrical connectors to plug right into the original pigtails. There we go. And before we go down to install our parts on the transmission, we're going to have the shifter in the neutral position. Since we're hooking up to a 700R4, we will use the offset shift lever provided in the kit. If this was a 4L60, 4L70, 4L80, anything that potentially has the electronic switch on the side of the transmission that this shaft goes through, or even if it doesn't have the switch but it has the essence being it has the long shaft, that would be when you would use the flat lever, and the cable will get mounted on the inside of a flat lever but on the outside of an offset lever. And that's just primarily to keep the cable straight in line with how it comes out of the pan bracket so that it doesn't bind or wear prematurely or ultimately break the cable. So make sure you do that correct. Before we put this on the transmission, however, we're going to put in our cable stud and tighten that down in about the center of the slot just to start. And it's just a little bit easier to initially put it on before we attach it to the transmission. Now, this lever should always be pointing, nearest makes no difference, down towards the ground. You will never install them pointing up towards the tunnel of the car. So once you get your shift lever installed, next up, you're actually going to want to clip the cable to the pan bracket. And you're going to want to do this before you install the pan bracket on the pan, because if you notice, this is factory exhaust on this car, and to anyone who has aftermarket, you might even have more of a tight squeeze in here to work. So clipping this on does two things. One, it makes your life easier, and two is once it's actually on there, you can remove the bolts that hold it in place on the pan and actually put the cable eyelet onto the shift lever and click it into neutral. And all you have to do, with the shifter also in neutral, right, is hold it up to the pan itself, and you have a series of holes here. One of these holes is going to be quite close. That's going to be the hole orientation that you'll want to use. But all you simply do at this point, instead of take the clip back out, which don't go in very easily, is you'll spin the pan bracket around the cable until you line up perfectly with one of the holes. And this will be a good starting point for adjustment. Also just got a little dirt in my mouth, but a little dirt ain't gonna hurt nobody. Then once your pan bracket is fully installed, and this can be done before or after the pan bracket is bolted on, you put the cable eyelet on the stud of the shift lever, then install the washer on the shift lever stud and insert the cotter pin through the stud hole. Now that we got everything ballpark hooked up down below here, and for the most part tightened, we'll go back up topside and do some adjustment at the shifter. Well, half a turn of the upper bulkhead was all it took, and we are rocking and rolling. We're in neutral right now. That's where we made our adjustment. We can go into park smoothly. And nice trick feature of the slap shift is if you actually hold the button coming out of park, it'll stop for drive and then go into the notch as you release. Then you can go 3, 2, 1, and upshifting can be 1, 2, 3, 4th. We got reverse. Everything's all good up here. Also, for anyone who may have a reverse valve body transmission, these gates do work for those as well. In fact, it was intended that way to work for both forward and reverse pattern. So right here we are in what would be on a forward pattern drive. On a reverse valve body, this would be first. If you have a 3-speed reverse valve body, you go first, second, third, and if you have a 4-speed, 3, 2, 4th. Now, once your shifter is properly adjusted with the transmission, the last thing that you want to double check before putting the console back together is going to be the neutral safety backup plate switch. And it's a very easy test. All you have to do is temporarily hook up your battery, have it in park, and try to crank. And we do have crank, and we'll see if our backup lights come on in reverse. And they do. And now we'll go to neutral and see if we have crank, and we do. And just for safety's sake, we'll try starting the car in reverse. No crank. And how about drive? Also no crank. So we are good to go and get this console all back together. At this point, your shifter installation is complete. We hope this video was helpful, and if there are any questions we didn't answer for you, feel free to post a comment below, give us a call, or shoot us an email at support@shiftworks.com. Also, don't forget, if you liked this video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with any new product releases, overviews, or how-to videos we put out there. Remember, you shouldn't have to sacrifice factory appearance for modern performance. Check out what we've got for your classic ride at www.shiftworks.com today. Thanks for watching.